Well, hello there, and welcome back to the second match of the day in the Onslaught Legends Series Season 3, sponsored by AMD. Together, we advance gaming, and now we have quite the banger of a match coming up with CASHBACK against W, but arguably not the most important match of the day.
No, but potentially the most entertaining one, though.
Yeah. I mean, we have a CASHBACK, a team that before the season started, everyone had on their predictions to be possibly one of the prime contenders to take it all away. But after losing versus Ping, and after losing versus Yogurt, after losing versus Hit and Run and Tiebreaker as well, CASHBACK all of a sudden not looking so fresh anymore. And today is maybe the ultimate test of Phase 1 for them, because they are taking it up against the team that so far has performed the best, W. Yeah,
and CASHBACK looks a lot more like W than they would like. You know, the W of the last two seasons was inconsistent, not really performing, and scraping by. Let's be real, one season they were 5th, in the other season they were 4th, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So barely getting in. Winning one, of course, which is amazing for them. And community prediction, I mean...
That is crazy. That is crazy.
I don't think you'd ever really see such a thing come in where, you know, W is leading with community prediction.
Yeah, but given how the season has progressed, I can see where it's coming from. Absolutely. W have looked stable, have looked exceptional at times, and I think we have to once again, first of all, player statistics. We see Gotcha Baby, a player that played the previous season in the team of CASHBACK. Maybe the problem here was, after all, that, you know, Gotcha Baby is not in CASHBACK anymore. Good stats, to be extremely flexible. Frugo is sort of the master chef in the kitchen, continuously coming up with new stuff, but he finally has the player skill on his team to be able to execute even wild ideas. Now, prediction-wise, I see both of us agree that let's see how it's all going to turn out. W are coming on towards Pilsen with triple BZ75, an E100, a 121B, an E50M, and a Foch B.
CASHBACK, triple T57 heavy, Foch B, IS7, E100, and 6-3P. So those BZ's key hands, they're going to have to put them to good use. Yeah, the BZs, I mean, they do have the rocket boosters that are going to propel them quickly in towards position. We'll have to wait and see if this is going to be a quick cap play. But CASHBACK as well, both of the teams without light tanks, mind you, they're also driving towards the cap side, towards the 1, 2, and 3 line. And in between BZs and T57s in a shootout, I kind of favor the T57. Yeah, the BZs are going on towards the cap, though. Immediately, Ios feels the hurt, Chlorophyll in the hurt as well, kind of sitting out in the open to give his shot. But the damage, Skihan, look at that, man. They're going to keep boosting towards Aka, but this is like kind of driving through the open. The 57s, they're just going to come back to the other angle.
Yeah, exactly. Aka taking another shot by Frugo, who is now putting him down towards a 2-shot, but you can see the T57's, the clip reload, actually not that long, and back in they come. Pop, 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 go the shots, and the first BZ already down and out as Little and Liberty. Both of them still have shots remaining, and Clurf does feel the hurt. He falls as well. Good strikes by W, but at that point in time, maybe it's too far gone.
And I also had a good kill there against that 60p from Aka, but he already paid off his life like he's supposed to. Drakefa and Baby now converging on towards that Foch B of Barbarian, but in return the 57's coming on their 3rd reload already in this game. That's only 1 minute 30 deep. Find Itox out in the open, and somebody else that's out in the open is Mentos as well in that E100 Brainbreaker, just having a little bit of a fun time with that E100, getting behind him, chopping some shots in the back of him. And yeah, good initial here from CASHBACK, really countering everything W wanted to do.
Absolutely. CASHBACK were ready with those T57s, and I think it was just honestly lost on opening here for the side of W, because as soon as those T57s get like 3 clips off each and are then able to escape without taking any damage whatsoever, that's kind of game over.
So, Baby, the last man standing. Somebody will come off reload soon. He's just padding his DPG a little bit, you know. That's what you get if you're the last one alive. Twilight will find it. No, it's going to be Little stealing it. And, you know, CASHBACK still rotating in the lineup, Kihan. I don't know if Squeezy's not there.
To tell W, well, T57 traps, we can do those ourselves too. Not unexpectedly so, the T57's on top. As we see, round number 2 is about to start. W switching it up quite heavily, and I think rightfully so. Singular E100, double T57, 121B, double Foch B, and a light tank, IOS, with the EBR.
In return, though, CASHBACK, W100 mouse, double T57, and double Batcha. No light tanks available for them. None of those shenanigans. And the EBR, of course, is a very potent tank on this map still.
Yeah, he's going to go very aggressive at the start, which is exactly what the EBR should do. Also, the fact that none of the tanks of W are going to get spotted at the start should be communicated, and then IOS will know more likely than not that, well, there is no light tank on the enemy team. CASHBACK once again very oriented towards that 1-2-3 line, and W this time as well. So they are going there, but they will have the EBR on the offside that only sees the mouse. This should tell W that, hey guys, where can the opponents actually be? It must be here as well. We need to stop because we have one fighting tank less.
Well, I mean, he's taken the strike already, though. Itok's pushing in with that Foch B getting clipped out now by Brainbreaker as well. Brainbreaker is waiting for the ability. He might even go for this fight, to be honest. Now, Itok starts healing, and Brainbreaker is just peeking this, but he's getting shot in the side by Mentos as well. Can he actually do enough from this? Jagefa now coming in as well. Mentos will look for the kill here. Brainbreaker trying to escape. Does he make it out? No, he doesn't. Baby in the 1-1B is actually the one to find the kill, and now the 57 heavies are starting to unload. Little coming in with his own Batcha now, a little bit premature again, is about to come off of reload, and he will be able to find the kill, but that was a lot of HP lost, and Mentos might even find the kill from the back lines. He's not frugal with the overpeak though, and it's only 57 heavy. That was a little bit more than he wanted in that tank, and it's opening him up to Twilight, and then following up, I said as well, the two of them to pick him up.
Yeah, and you can see Klurf here trying to get a bit over-eager with the T57, with driving away, hits the edge of the opening in the house. He does get double tracked here, so this double E100 is not going to stop rolling. Instead, they will drive over that T57, the EBR taking damage as well. Liberty to pick it up too, but that opens him up actually towards Klurf, who is completely reloaded in the T57, but Twilight to save his body of Liberty as Mentos comes in with the E100 as well in the city and picks up Liberty. But at that point in time, once again, W are fighting with 2 against 4.
Yeah, and they even kind of got a bad shot relatively cheap-ish, you know, like Little Keyhand. I won't even say Brainbreaker because Brainbreaker did his clip, but Little lost all of his HP for like 1 shot of damage. So even with that, CASHBACK still convincingly won this round, and that comes down to, gotta say it though, man, you know, the peak there by Frugo, the engage between him and Klurf, where he was the one that was the most aggressive, was not what they were looking for whatsoever. And, you know, an E100 is not a mouse. A mouse will not chase down a T57 heavy, but an E100 will.
Absolutely. Put a turbo on that thing, and it starts really rolling over the T57s. And yeah, CASHBACK, quick 2-0 on Pilsen. This is not the CASHBACK that we saw against Ping or Yogurt. Then again, which CASHBACK are we going to see next map is the question. But yeah, the E100s really got going this round, and I think a lot of people still underestimate the DPM that the E100 has, but like the 530 alpha every 9 or 10 seconds roundabout, it can really start adding up.
I feel like for the Inspire tank to work here for W, they need a bit longer of a game. Like, sure, Baby does 5k, right? But he's the only one having a good game together with Mentos. The only one. I mean, you know, Frugo 2 shots of damage, Jakefen at Foch B 3 shots of damage, the EBR, of which I think some is strike damage as well, if I'm not mistaken. So he has 2k, and I think it's at least 800 from the strikes. So
yeah,
it's, you know, they need a longer game to make this work, because the EBR, Kihan, you know, like, you need a longer game for the Inspire and EBR combination to really start kicking in. If the 57s don't get a second clip, then it does not matter.
Yeah, but the lineup of Cashback was designed to immediately force the issue, right? They don't have a light tank, they have T-57s, E-100s, Batshots, so they want to immediately get off the engage, and that is just what they did. That was Cashback's pick, though. Now we are going to go to Cliff, and I mean, Pilsen was quick. I don't think Cliff is going to be much slower, honestly.
No, but I do need, and I think you need it as well, I do think that we need W to pick up one round on Cliff. Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
Would be important, right, Kihant? You know, there's being right and being more right. Just like there's being wrong, very wrong, and moff.
The thing is, I mean, W against Cashback on Cliff, probably not the worst memories for W, because they ended up winning and getting the match point conversion against Cashback on this exact map.
That is true. They do have good memory for it. You can see the captain's ratings. The only reason Cashback is not rated 1 across the board is because there may have been some teams voting for themselves.
Yeah.
But I think some of those teams
still...
Yeah. I do think, that some of those teams perhaps mistook place number 1 and place number 8.
That is entirely possible. Are we right now talking about teams with like a blue and white logo?
I will not say any names, but maybe they had the way that this ranking system worked all turned around, you know? Maybe first meant first to drop out.
Aha, speedrun any percent. Maybe that's what Cashback is going to do this match, because after 2 quick rounds, they're already on a match point here. Quadruple E50M, CS63, BZ, and a 50B.
In return, though, W, quadruple E50M, TVP, BZ, and a T100.
I'm kind of worried here for W with that T100, once again lacking the firepower.
They do have 4 E50Ms though, but the question is the initial engage, right? The 50Bs can burst through an E50M. If they do, Keyhand, this becomes a bit more worrying. If Jakefa can find a first clip and get the ball rolling, because that is the thing about a TVP, right? He needs to get the ball rolling. If he can, then things are possible. Mentos made a good play, spots 5 out of 6 people going down into 1-2. So potentially W could volley from the corner.
Let's see, Ios and Clurf are going to be the first ones over at the corner. Twilight immediately taking 1600, that's good damage, but I'm not sure if the E50Ms by W actually want to commit, as Ios completely gets obliterated. Gone from the face of the earth is this first E50M of W. They're not going to find Clurf completely, I think, but Itox and Mentos are still there. Cashback just with the gun advantage now.
Ow! Ow! I think even W don't understand what just happened. I mean, Frugo ramming in towards an E50M. Okay, he might be a BZ, but now Mentos starting to explode as well in that little T100. I thought for a moment there W was cooking. You know, they hit the CS63. They're going to stop on the corner keyhand, volley, 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 and repush, right? Because they know that there's nobody left behind. But no, they go for it. They go for the fight against these 6 tanks from CASHBACK going into 1-2 line. That's just like, I don't know if it's tilt or an oversight or what it is, but it's 100% the wrong decision. And it's not going to be a competitive match. It's going to be a wipe. It's going to be 3-0 for CASHBACK, putting things in order again. I think there though, Kihan, in my opinion, after you do that initial damage to the CS63, you want to stop at the E50Ms on the corner, volley out, right? Volley, volley. Come in from the top and then repush from behind. Not enable these 50Bs to just explode your team.
The fact as well that if you see the CS cross, that should normally indicate that there are more tanks from CASHBACK at this side here.
But they know, they had the plan. They knew that there was 6.
Yeah.
They knew that there was, they saw everything going on too. Mental spotted everything. So they knew everything. They knew that there was only a CS that was F1, and a CS doesn't do that much damage. Like, he really doesn't do that much damage. They could peek out with all the 50Ms and the TVP. Get the clip on the TVP as well. Do a lot of damage with the 50Ms, especially because you start shooting the last guy there, not the first guy. You start shooting the last guy because, you know, the last guy is also the last one to drive on the hill, so you can keep peeking. But now you drive around the corner, Jos in the 50M, just like, it's just gone. Like, it's just like in a second or two. I honestly think that their only option is to stop, volley, volley again, force the 50Bs from CASHBACK to even stop, like they've done a few times before. You've seen them stop in the open, pop ability, and then come in with the tanks from the top. They don't have the firepower for this fight.
Yeah, I mean, we see here, yours does one shot of damage, probably even on the CS. So in the shootout, that was damage that didn't really help. And the thing is, once again, with that T100, I mean, he got the information. It wasn't like his fault after that the T100 is not a tank that does very well in a close combat shootout scenario, because the DPM is so limited and you also come in with very little HP. On the other hand, though, the 50Bs, I think both of them with perfect first clips, that was the quickest E50M disappearance I've seen in quite a while.
Yeah, if you're Yost there, you're like in 2 seconds. Like the damage starts pounding and you're just dead.
Yeah.
Just instantly. I don't know. It was rough.
I think the call was just the wrong one to go in there.
I think they need to volley.
Already,
I think
like,
they
need to stop at the corner, and like even if they don't go in, even if they don't have like good positions after that, it's still better than losing like this.
I think they could kill a tank driving up with the 50Ms because they were so fast. I think they killed the last one, and CASHBACK then needs to pick if they keep going up. W can take mid in return or start pushing up, get Frugo close. So CASHBACK needs to put some tanks to kill Frugo, needs to put some tanks to watch behind. The CS can get that repush, but now they just opened themselves up. Like they did the initial volley, but then CASHBACK has the burst with those 50Bs, and